Hello. Today we're talking about solving systems of equations by elimination. Now, elimination brings us back to the days of adding. If I have 2 plus 6, I kind of add in a downward fashion, and I put my answer as 8. Same thing with elimination. We're going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to do it with equations. Now, what's nice is if I take this and I add these two together, 2x's plus 6x's equals 8x's. Now, likewise, a plus 5y and a minus 5y ends up being 0 y's. And 0 times y is just a 0, and so the whole thing is gone. 17 minus 9 is 8. So my equation turns out to be I'll have the 8, the x, the equal sign equals 8. And one of my variables is eliminated. Once I'm here, I can simply divide by 8 and get x all by itself. Oops, 8. And 8 divided by 8 is a 1. X has to equal 1. Now that I know that x equals 1, I can take this number and pick one of my two equations, and it doesn't even matter which one, and put it back in my x spot. So I can write 2 times, we said x is 1, plus 5y's equals 17. Then, there's only one variable here. We can solve it. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 5y equals 17, minus 2 to both sides. And we have 5y equals 15, divide by 5, divide by 5, and you're left with y equals 3. Now that you have both of them, you can realize, okay, this is a system of equations. They're two lines, and we're looking for the point where they cross. So my final answer is going to be a point. X is 1, y is 3. So 1 comma 3 is my final answer. So make sure you write these as points after you have your both x and your y. We'll take a look at what happens. Okay, let's do another example. So I'm going to add minus 7x minus 7x minus 7x is 0 x's. So it doesn't have to be the y that drops out all the time. It can be the x as well. I'll have 0x. I won't even have to write it. 2 y's plus another y, that's 3 y's altogether, and that will equal 10 minus 16 is a minus 6. Divide both sides by 3, and you're left with a y equals negative 2. Once I know one of them, I can put it back to one of these two equations. Does it have to be the top one? No, it can be any one you pick. I like positive, so I'm going to go with the top number. So 7x plus 2 times, and we know that y is a negative 2, equals 10. 2 times a negative 2 is a minus 4. So 7x minus 4 equals 10. Plus 4 to both sides. We're left with 7x equals 14. Divide by 7, divide by 7. You get x equals 2. And now we have both answers. Be careful. Remember, these are both points. So the x comes first, the 2 comes first, then the minus 2 is in the y spot. There's your final answer. Okay, now what happens if I go to add these two together? If I add these two, I'll go 2x plus 2x is 4x, minus 3y plus y is a minus 2y. And do you notice how, I'm going to stop right here because, do you notice how both x and y are still there? One of them didn't eliminate. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to multiply something times everything to make one eliminate. And it doesn't matter which one, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply one of these guys by a negative 1. Be careful, this is where a lot of people can make mistakes, to make sure that that minus 1 gets multiplied to each and every term. So you'll end up with a 2x a minus 2x minus y equals, and a minus minus makes a positive 7. Then you can take that top equation and do some adding. 2x minus 2x are 0x's. I'm left with minus 4y's equals, and 61 plus 7, remember we're adding here, is 68. And that's why we want to always add, so that it helps us with our signs. Divide by a minus 4, divide by a minus 4, y will equal, I believe it's 17. Once we have 17, we can pick either one of these formulas and solve it. I'm going to pick this equation and put it back there. So my original equation was 2x plus, and I know y is 17, equals a negative 7. Minus 17, we'll get a 2x equals a minus 24. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X will have to equal a negative 12. Write this as your answer as a point. Minus 12 goes first because that's my x. The positive 17 comes last. And there is your final answer. Okay, so now looking at this, you figured out that the two terms have to eliminate. But the problem is neither the 3x and 4x are the same. Those won't eliminate, nor those are the same. So what you're going to end up doing is say, well, I'm going to have to multiply something more than just a negative 1. I'm going to have to multiply something times a number. Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm saying, hey, wouldn't it be nice if I could multiply that times a 4, and that would make a 40y, which would cancel with 40y that's below it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply both of these two by a positive 4, and I don't need to multiply it times negative because it's already a minus. And I'll multiply a 4 times each and every term. Again, remember, get every term. 4 times 3 is 12x minus 40y equals minus 100. Then you can bring this second formula down, the equation, and add them together. 12x plus 4x is 16x's. A minus 40y and a plus 40y make a 0. Those go away. And a minus 100 plus 20 is going to be a minus 80. Divide by 16. Divide by 16. X will equal a negative 5. X is negative 5. Once we know that, pick one of my originals and plug it back in. I'm thinking, let's go with the positives. Let's go with this one right here. So 4 times, I know x is a minus 5 plus 40y equals 20. And so we have a minus 20 plus 40y equals 20. That's plus 40, or plus 20 to both sides, plus 20 to both sides. You'll get 40y equals, that's a 40 there, divide by 40, and y equals 1, right as your final answer. And minus 5 is our x, 1 is our y. My point, these lines cross at negative 5, 1. Now notice I'm putting down each and every term. Please rewrite, show all your work, even if you think it's silly. Showing your work will keep you from making mistakes. Sometimes you may have to multiply more than one of these terms. You may have to multiply them both. If I wanted to eliminate this, by the way, by eliminating the x, instead of multiplying both sides times 4, you could multiply the top times a 4 and the bottom times a minus 3. The top would be a 12x, the bottom would be a minus 12x. And you can see how that, if I eliminated, those would make a 0x as well. So you're not limited to just x or just y, or if none of them make any sense, you can multiply them times both of them, treat them like a common denominator. So here are your basic rules. First, find the term you want to eliminate. Do you want to eliminate the x or the y? Which is easier? Second, multiply the entire equation if needed. You may not even have to do that if it's set up nicely for you. Third, solve for a single variable. Solve for just what's left over, what's not eliminated. Once you know that, then fourth, put your answer back into the equation and solve for your second variable. And last, write it as a point. Good luck. Hopes this helps. Have a great day.